Seconds. All right. Okay, you can fade the music. Oh, there you go. All right, we're on. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Harris. Welcome to Introduction to Addictive Behavior. Those of you here on campus, LCC main campus, those of you in Cottage Grove, and those of you watching via web or by delay. Let me do some technical viewing housekeeping. So what I forgot to do in the syllabus, which I just updated about half an hour ago, is give you this information. Yes, Building 2, Room 214 in main campus, because it's broadcast live. It's going out on Comcast 23 and Charter 9 if you have either one of those cable systems. There is it's rebroadcast 12 hours later, i.e. 3 in the morning. So you can set your DVRs unless you're like insomniac for some reason.
We eliminated the overnight showing some time ago.
Say again?
We eliminated the weekend showings. We still do the weekends, though. We're not doing the overnights, rather.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we're not doing overnights. We are doing weekend showings. So Tuesdays broadcast on Saturday, and Thursdays broadcast on Sunday at 10 a.m., both on Comcast 23 and Charter 9. There's also a live stream, so you can watch it in real time, but the live stream only happens when the class is being broadcast. Other times, there'll be a YouTube URL available the day after class, and I'll post that to the Moodle site, and it'll be under the appropriate day, so then you can watch that at any time as well from any computer that can run YouTube. Otherwise, my office hours are an hour before class in the Recovery Center here on main campus or by appointment, and the Recovery Center phone, 463-5178 or 5178 from any campus phone. Here's my email, and probably since you've already registered, you've already been to the Moodle site, which gets updated a couple of different times a week. So, the intention of this course is to arm you with knowledge, skills, and abilities to achieve a healthy, balanced, non-addictive life. And it's oriented towards civilians. Now, normally I don't like to talk in terms of drug war because I'm usually a target of the drug war, one way or the other, having an excellent suntan. But there are people who are paid as professionals to deal with these issues. So drug counselors, paramedics, et cetera, police, et cetera, the people that are paid to deal with it. And then there's other folks that basically have to deal with the issues. And one of the things that I found is that a lot of civilians were taking the professional course. Now, I'm the drug counselor for Lane Community College, one of the few, I think one of either the only one or one of two in the state at a community college. So it's not like there aren't drug problems at other community colleges, but there we have it. So I'm an addictions professional, been in the field for 40 years. I've been here for 20. So the only work that I've ever had in this state is alcohol and drug related. So either working as a drug counselor in high school, adult treatment at Chrysalis, Whitebird here in town, working for the feds for a couple of years, and then started working here. So essentially, we can't do treatment here. It's not set up to be a treatment center because higher ed isn't designed to actually deliver treatment, but people still deal with the issues. So civilians need to know what drug counselors know to help deal with the problem because sorry to have well, I'm not going to apologize for having an attitude. You're under attack. So you need to protect yourself as if you're under attack. Okay? So addictions are big business in America. All right? And basically it goes like this. The alcohol and tobacco companies, or I call them the tobacco hall companies, since they're often the same folks, okay? They know if you are not addicted to one of their products by 15, you probably ain't gonna be. That's why they make sure that you have some degree of brand loyalty or are using by the time you're 15. Now, maybe you didn't know that. So it is illegal for you to drink alcohol if you're younger than 21, but it's not illegal for them to market to you. Because for them, it's a free speech issue that kind of goes along with the corporations or people thing. Wish I was making this up. Okay? But that's the reality. So we know when Bud Light has Bud's McKenzie, no, well, who is that oriented to? Kids. Oh, we're not marketing to kids. We want the responsible use of our product. Okay, so what does responsible use mean? Define it in dosage terms. Huh? Alcohol's not a drug, it's a lifestyle choice. Okay? So I've participated in these conversations back and forth with the industry representatives and my fellow colleagues. So, civilians are not paid or expected to deal with addictions at a professional level of skill. So I decided to try and put myself out of business and give you a professional level of skill, whether or not you're a professional, because you need to know this. Because at some point, you or one of your relatives or friends are going to be dealing with this issue because of how it is, right? Intentionally or unintentionally. Okay? So what I'm trying to instill in you is what's called, now it's interesting in English that we don't have a word for this, conscientização. So it's a Portuguese word and it means critical consciousness. Popular education and social concept developed by renowned Brazilian educator Paulo Freire. And the way critical consciousness works is that you have to be taught to question things as a reflex. It's not enough to question authority. You have to ask intelligent, hard questions. And here's the additional thing. You have to know the answer before you ask the authority. Because you're testing them to see if they know. They should know this. But they don't. Necessarily. Okay? So the idea is that you're under attack, you're a target. This is the normal state of affairs for you to be conditioned to be a consumer, slave, citizen. Now, slave. Here's what I mean by that. As an African-American practitioner, African-American practitioners believe addiction is slavery. An addicted population is a controlled population. Okay, so for example, any of you ever played chess? Okay, so when you're in check, you don't have time to think about strategy. You got to get out of check, right? Well, addiction puts you in check. So that all you can do is think about getting the next dose. You can't even question the fact that why are these drugs in my community in the first place? You don't have time to deal with it, right? So addiction is slavery, and you know how black people feel about slavery. Slavery was legal. It was protected. People made money from it. If you look at the number of addictions that exist in America and the vast amounts of money that go into protecting them, it's the same thing. Okay, so arm yourself. Slaves can free themselves. Citizens can participate in a democracy if they are educated to participate in that democracy. All right, so there are some people that might blame the victim. For example, a defective character, that's the way those people are. Okay, as if your zip code makes a difference in addiction. So I can tell you, for example, I was at an African American treatment summit several weeks ago in Portland. And there was a white doctor there that had been led to recovery by one of the longtime black recovery treatment professionals. And, he said, here's the difference. I had my addiction. I was using crack in North Portland, or rather Northwest Portland, on the other side of the river where all the money is. And he was having his crack addiction in Northeast Portland. But my problem, as the doctor, as the white doctor, my problem was treated as a medical problem, and his problem was treated as a criminal problem, when they're both medical problems. Okay? Prison is not the place to treat a medical problem. All right? But we make a choice to do that, policy-wise, the way those people are. So I'm giving you the tools, the awareness to fight back and be healthy, or be a more contented slave if you want to be, but you probably don't want to be, because why would you pay all this money just to maintain your addiction, right? So now, because I've given you the opportunity to become aware of your wounding, I got to say this. First boundary. I'm a counselor. I am not your counselor while you're in class. Okay? You do pay my salary, but I can only see you when you're not a student in my class. Now, I can basically have you work on your stuff that any good counselor would have you work on, and they are cleverly disguised as classroom assignments. See how we work that? You got to look at this stuff anyway, and a good treatment program will teach you how to do that, but a lot of them don't. So that's why I teach college and I don't work in treatment, because the money's better as a college professor, really. So if we are ever in a counselor-client relationship, I would expect you to work towards becoming your own skilled, best-informed consent advocate. That phrase is, legally informed consent means that you have the right as a patient to know what the course of treatment is going to do for you, the upsides and the downsides. You have that right to ask that of any doctor or nurse or whatever. Most of the time, people are intimidated by M deities, but I'm the son of an M deity, so I grew up with them. That they don't trip me out. All right, so to know what the therapist knows and to be able to undertake whatever course of action on your own and not be dependent on sessions with me or anyone else. So we're going to talk about prehab, not rehab, prehab. All right, so you need to learn how to sit still. And I don't mean in the classroom. Okay, be able to sit still, stand, take a stand, walk, get connected, stay connected. Identify that which makes you strong, that which has heart and meaning. You need to develop your own inner healer, inner teacher, inner visionary, inner warrior. Now, here's why I put it this way, and this is why I selected the books that I did. Can I use this as a prop? Can I use your books as a prop? All right, this whole prehab piece is basically saying that the response, how addictions arise, and their course, and their cure, depends on the culture that you come from. Okay? So, for me, raised the way I was, we're the descendant of slaves, and we're the slaves that taught each other how to read when it was a death sentence. So it was pretty clear. Okay, you can't trust segregated schools in the South to give you the right education. You have to have your own libraries, even if they kill you for reading. Simple. You know, so we developed a distrust of the system, but, you know, my father said, you're black, you're going to college. So, okay. I'm black, I'm going to college. Next. Wasn't that simple, but, right? So the idea is, I'm already oriented to distrust the system and distrust mainstream society. What are they bringing this stuff for? Question why they're bringing it. So, in the addictions field, 90% of the people that you will encounter working in the field are recovering addicts and alcoholics. Now, I'm a normie in that framework. Okay? I'm not a 12-stepper. I am into the science, the neuroscience, the pharmacology. And being a person of color, I'm into, okay, were we addicted before we became Americans? No. Those people you call illegal immigrants, well, wait a minute. First of all, they were welcomed up here before English had an alphabet, so who's the illegal immigrant pilgrim? 2, when they come here, they're already oriented to family, education, respecting their elders. I mean, it tripped me out the first time when I started going to mostly white schools where these kids would talk to their parents and tell them to F off. And that was normal. Like, wow, I couldn't get away. Wow, okay. So, and oriented to drinking and using and all that other kind of stuff. And that was considered normal behavior. And so one of the things when we study the data, immigrants from any country, if they don't have heavy use patterns in their culture, when they come to America, they start using more. The kids do. Right? So actually coming to America is a risk factor for substance abuse. Being in America is a risk factor for substance abuse. Not my opinion, that's the science. Replicated. Your government, your tax dollars is basically oriented to that fight. That's the reality, all right? So